You've just reminded me I need to get the Hoover out.
Oh, nice. Covered in dust. Much like the seats of stadia across the country. But now they are filled with people. And those people include author, putter of words into people's mouths, Andrew Quirke, who was there yesterday at the Totally Wicked Stadium. You were there. What was it like? What was it like to be back in a ground after forever?
As Daft Punk once sang, if love is the answer, you're home. And it was quite emotional, really, because they played Annie's song shortly before kick-off, which I know we probably stole from.
You stole from Sheffield United.
Sheffield United, yes. I knew you were going to say that, and everyone was singing, and then there was the big chorus of "Oh, When the Saints," and to be back on the ground as the players came out, you could see what it meant to them after playing in front of empty grounds. It was fantastic. It was everything I thought it would be. I've really missed it, and you had the ability to watch live sport, the ability of feeling some normality is coming back into your life, and catching up with people you hadn't seen for a long time. So it seemed to have gone really well from a perspective at Saints last night. It was very well organised. They had the dispensers on entry into the stadium, and then they were handing out the antigen tests on your way out as well, so you could test yourself after the game. So hopefully it's step one into getting more and more people back, and everyone getting back into the stadiums.
Did everyone generally behave? I mean, watching the Warrington game on TV, people still don't wear their masks over their noses. I mean, we are over a year into this thing.
Mate, it's the bane of my life that, if you're going to wear it around your chin, what is the point? And I did see a couple of people whose mask discipline wasn't what it should have been, but there was plenty of stewards on hand, and actually Saints were really good about announcing over the tannoy to remind people, you must wear your mask inside the stadium. And I think by and large, most people they did comply, which is really good.
We're not the mask police, by the way. We know people have legitimate reasons not to wear masks, but I do like the people who have those lanyards which indicate that they are able not to wear a mask, but still wear a mask as well, because they want to help everybody else, as opposed to those virulent anti-maskers who are just antisocial morons. But that's different from people who people who don't have legitimate reason not to wear a mask. That's all right. Is that the politics done? Yeah, I think that's the politics done. On the field, Saints. I mean, the great thing is, Andrew, you're my second favourite Saints fan, because I love Kev on social media, who's the most negative person to follow the back-to-back champions. Unbeaten, win everything, blah blah blah. Win to 0 yesterday, but he's not happy. He's never happy with the style of play. But you nil Salford the grand finalists a couple of years ago.
Kev was stood very close to me last night at the game, and 20 minutes after the 15 months break, and he was really looking forward to getting back. I heard, God, they're terrible, aren't they? They just can't attack. What a boring team to watch. It's like Cunningham's back. So he wasn't best pleased with the attack, but I think going to go on about the defence. The defence, I think, is really, really good. And what I've said all along is, when our attack does click, and I think it will at some point in the season, I think we'll be absolutely fine. And I don't think there's much of a panic at Saints. I don't think it's Saints in crisis when you're top of the league in the semi-final of the Cup and you didn't concede a point. But Saints fans very demanding, and it's this history of being entertained, which is, I think, that little bit of tension against the current style of play. But I think we'll be okay.
Millstone around any team's neck, Phil, isn't it? When you dub the entertainers and you don't entertain anymore. It's like Wigan under Sean Wayne, where everyone's like, oh, they're boring, and they only have Plan A, and but they keep winning things, and then they don't win things, and it's not quite the same, is it? But you reap what you sow, I guess.
Well, I have to say I was fortunate enough to be at Castleford last night, and echoing everything that Andrew said. I mean, clearly he was at a game where he had a dog in the fight. I was just there to be part of welcoming crowds back and gauging some reaction to it. And I think the only word you can use is emotional. I think if you love sport, its true essence is in having crowds back, and you realise what you've missed and how much you've missed it. And that was really when the Castleford side ran out to warm up, and virtually everybody who was by then in the ground either got up off their seats or shrieked their heads off if they were standing up behind the terraces, just because they could see and connect again with their heroes. And of course, you know, an hour into the game, they were screaming offside and berating the ref because the opposition were actually playing better than them. But there's something absolutely magical about playing in front of fans that I don't think we ever didn't appreciate. But I think when you haven't had it for a while, it meant everything. You know, when the team does run out, and it was a mutual acknowledgement thing, as I'm sure it was at St Helens as well, that the players were clapping the fans as much as the fans were welcoming the players. The hairs stand up on the back of your neck for no other reason than this is what you've been watching sport for all your life, and this is what it means. You know, you talk about the music that was played, highly appropriately, I think. As the fans were allowed into the ground at Weldon Road, they played the Verve's Bittersweet Symphony. And for a while, that's what it was, because there was the minute silence before the game for all of those who, you know, desperately can't be there and who we were all thinking about. And clearly the world has changed. Everybody behaved. There were gaps between people in the stands. There were respectful spaces between people on the terraces. There was a delay when the ground was emptied at the end because they did it section by section. And there was no compulsion by anybody to break what the rules were. And that was fantastic. And yeah, we can talk about the games, but actually the story this week is the fans.
Whatever normal was, Andrew, it's not going to be like this for a while, is it? So we're going to have to get used to what it was yesterday. And I guess it's just the fact that we are allowed back is the main thing, and whatever we have to do to be back is irrelevant.
I think that's the key thing. I think because we've had such limited ability to do many things that we took for granted just 18 months ago, that it is small steps. And I think people are so grateful. I mean, obviously, there was a lot of Saints fans who would have wanted to have been at last night's game who weren't successful in the ballot. So it was a privilege to be there, especially on that first night back, and to experience that. So yes, obviously, you know, wearing the mask might be a little bit uncomfortable. It gets hot. I personally wasn't used to being stood still for 2 hours. I'm an old man now, and my back was singing out, but I won't complain about anything. And I think whatever we need to do to continue this journey safely for everybody, then people will comply, I'm sure.
And it's great credit to Rugby League supporters, and over the past 12 months, where Saints have won the Super League, Leeds won the Challenge Cup, teams have won various different things and done various different things, that fans haven't congregated outside stadia and celebrated and trashed city centres and whatever, as we've seen in other sports over the past 12 months, not just this weekend. And, you know, fans have missed out on those great communal moments. I mean, I know you had Tommy Makerson wandering around the ground with the trophy yesterday, but it's not the same as being in a packed Old Trafford and being in the car park afterwards and celebrating.
No, exactly. And I think there's 2 points there. Obviously, we discussed it previously when I was on the podcast about the ending to the last grand final. And if that had been played in front of a packed stadium, the reactions of everybody, I think it would have been absolutely incredible. But the second thing about not congregating outside grounds, which is really important, is that Langtree Park is a COVID vaccination hub, already vaccinated over 100,000 people. So it's really important that people stay away, because it's being used for a very, very important role in the community as well.
I was going to say, I think the other thing is we need to pay tribute to the players, because what came home last night was, whilst they could not have given more, and that is to their eternal credit, because they clearly do thrive off an atmosphere, there's been an artificiality. And I echo everything Andrew says. You know, we've been privileged to be in grounds when there's been no crowd to report on the action. And there's never been anything less than total commitment by any player who's played under these rogue circumstances. But the game was different last night because there was an interaction that we haven't had. And it was lovely not to hear the players, that they were drowned out by the chanting of songs. But I tell you what I miss more than anything, humour, because this has been such a dark and tragic time for so many. But you forget just how funny fans can be, and spontaneously funny. And just even as the sides lined up last night, Hull Cow were kicking off towards the Weldon Road end, where those passionate Castleford fans who always start singing "Get Into 'Em" immediately they're on the defensive are, and I think Cass were kicking off to that end, and Ryan Hall was lining up in front of those fans, and they came up with an absolutely hilarious chant for him, which I won't repeat because it wasn't for an audience that may well contain people under the age of 18. But not only did he laugh, but he stuck his thumbs up to the Castleford fans because they'd found something to try and put him off, but actually that was very, very funny. It revolved around "You're just a fat Leeds reject," and you'd suddenly realise that's what you've missed. And clearly by the end, those who have got in have forgotten that 14 months of waiting for that opportunity doesn't mean that they can't vent their opinions on what they've seen, and absolutely they should. And to be fair, Hull Cow were magnificent, but it's all the little things you take for granted, I think, are the ones that you notice the most when you go back.